USAID officials tell remaining staffers shred and burn your documents because nothing said really we're not breaking any laws like shred and burn all of your documents.
Correct.
Okay, now you were at the end of the end of your military career, you were MI, civil affairs.
Yeah.
Do you remember the destruct plans?
Yes.
Did you have a crispy safe?
We did have a crispy safe, and
Those are cool with the thermite charge.
yeah,
It's what it is basically for the uneducated and undoctrinated among you is there is a safe that we had in the skiffs where all the classified documents inside, you just slam the safe shut and activate the thermite panel on the side. And well, the obvious result.
yeah. Ours was it had wheels, so you could wheel it out the door and do it. You couldn't do it in the building.
Ours were in the bottom of a bunker underground, so there was really no point. We didn't really have any real expectation of getting out of some of those bunkers if the destruct plan was activated. I'm gonna be honest.
That's a crazy day right there.
We thought about it a couple times. We were like, "That's a lot of thermite, and that's like 7 safes, and then we've got all of this here." And Tony, we're not making it out of here, are we? Yeah, no, probably not.
At least he's honest with you.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Nobody's gonna die.
Do you not understand how oxygen works?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Those scrubbers can only handle so much.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're dead.
We're probably not making it out of here, are we? Oh,
yeah, and that's another thing. Like the guy who gave this order, he needs to be tried for treason.
Oh my God, absolutely.
behind
A senior official at USAID instructed this agency, say, why do they do that? A senior official at USAID, say his name. It's not a classified agency. Say this son of a bitch's name. Instructed the agency's remaining staff to convene at the agency's now former headquarters in Washington on Tuesday for an all-day group effort to destroy documents there, many of which contain sensitive information. Hey, I have a crazy idea. How about the U.S. Marshals and the FBI show up too?
And stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm. And take it all into evidence, bag it and tag it, and hand it over to the lawyers. What a crazy idea.
Yeah.
The materials earmarked for destruction to include contents of the agency's classified safes and personnel documents. Why does USAID have classified materials?
Yeah, they are not an actual. Oh, that's right. The CIA uses them as their funding arm.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that USAID was a State Department asset being operated by the CIA?
I didn't say that directly. I'm just saying that alphabet agencies probably used USAID as that free money to do things.
Yeah. When I got my clearance in 1994, if you had been a member of what was it? The Peace Corps. If you had been a member of the Peace Corps, you could not get a security clearance. You were considered a threat.
Really?
And unlike the button-pushing monkey who is not considered a threat and has shown up just in the nick of time to save us all from me having to do super chats.
What's up?
What's up?
All right.
So anyway, where were we? Oh, yes. We were hip deep in soju caps. Shred as many documents first and reserve the burn bags for when the shredder becomes unavailable or needs a break, the email said. Carr instructed staff to label the burn bags with the word secret and USAID BIO, Bureau or Independent Office, in dark Sharpie. What they're trying to do there is emulate what's called a caveat, ladies and gentlemen. And a caveat means this is priority for the destruct. In a situation like this, caveat has other meanings elsewhere, but here it means burn this first. Okay. If these guys are actually labeling bags secret, they are also committing crimes. Again, where are the arrests? Because guess what? You don't get to declare documents classified. There's a procedure for that.
It's a fairly lengthy procedure for classification and declassification.
Yes. That is correct. Deck lines. I remember deck lines.
I went to that class and it
was me too. Bitch. It sucks ass. That class is
3 days.
Fucking horrible. What?
3 8-hour days we had to do that class.
Oh, you got the light version. Ours was like 3 weeks long, man.
No.
Wow. Yeah, you got the short version.
Well, I mean, you have to cover it in my MOS course. You have to
Yes.
cover classified declassification procedures,
Mhm.
courier cards, stuff like that.
How high up did you go?
I had a TSSCI.
You had a TSSCI. Let me ask you, do you recognize the word Umbra?
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
that's a pretty high one.
It's
It's compartmentalized.
that has been declined, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm not afraid to say it on the air. It's been declined,
hmm
which means declassified for you gentle listeners out there.
hmm
Anyway, you can't just mark something secret. That's a no-no, also known as a federal crime. The email didn't provide any reason for the document destruction. The building is being emptied out after mass layoffs, which may have disrupted routine document destruction timetables. Customs and Border Protection is planning to move into the USAID facility, having rented 390,000 square feet of office space in just the last month. The effort also underscores the tumultuous way in which the Trump administration is dismantling an agency that once managed a $40 billion annual CIA budget. Oh, sorry, $40 billion annual budget and had more than 10,000 staff around the world.
That wasn't just CIA. It's NSA and all of the other DIA. All of those alphabet agencies use USAID for. If they wanted to pay somebody, they did it through the back door through USAID.
Okay, for the record, I can say this. NSA does not have anything like you've seen in Enemy of the State or
Nope.
anywhere like that. That's not a thing. So they wouldn't have needed to. It was a good movie. That came out in 96. We were at the language school when that came out, and we watched it as a comedy. We all sat there wishing we had those capabilities and actually had strike teams and stuff.
Yeah.
Because the NSA does not have any of that stuff at all. They don't have anything. Don't ever touch the key on a microphone or a transmitting device, though, if we're in the area, because we will get your ass.
Yeah.
But we don't have strike teams. That's why we paired up with you guys. You did that shit. We didn't do that shit.
I'm just saying.
I hear you. Anyway, a former USAID staffer confirmed the veracity of the email and described the destruction of agency documents as unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this. En masse, everything with a safe is supposed to keep it up to date and destroy documents when they are no longer need to be stored. The aforementioned decline procedure.
Yeah.
Sometimes security will check your safe and tell you if you have to clean out old material. We kept our safes in immaculate order. We always knew what was on its way out and headed to the disintegrators. USAID has been at the epicenter of Trump and tech mogul Elon Musk's visions of a smaller federal workforce. Much of USAID's personnel have been laid off or placed on administrative leave. USAID staffers are battling the changes in the courts with mixed results. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced this week that more than 80% of USAID's programs have been canceled, and the remaining ones will be administered by the State Department, which had been administering them anyway, but using USAID as the cover story.
Well, the thing with the State Department is simply this. They tried to get a hold of what USAID was doing for quite some time, and they basically blew off the State Department. And they threatened senators and representatives who tried to find out what was going on.
Where are you getting that from?
That was, I believe that was in the media a couple of weeks back.
I need to take a look at that because the State Department is a many-tentacled entity. And I have a hard time believing that USAID was resisting the State Department. I need to see that material.
Rubio was on the record when he did an interview. He goes, "I can't tell you how many times they just told us to pound sand, and they wouldn't obey us because they thought they were independent of the government, even though they're."
In the current administration, I see what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, previous to the current administration, the reason USAID is doing that is they're covering for their groups in the alphabet agencies, where those alphabet agencies have been using USAID to get stuff done in foreign countries, where the presence of one of the alphabet agencies would have either offended the local government or caused major problems in the form of sudden meat suit ejections.
Mm-hmm.
So USAID is using their freaking cover story. Like when you get captured at SEER and you have to stick to your cover story.
Correct.
That's what you're looking at. USAID is running their cover story. They had been working with State Department the whole time. Now they're refusing to talk to the Secretary of State because there's been a regime change within the State Department. And basically, they're sitting through the interrogation right now and running their cover story by the numbers.
Yeah, if I was
happening.
Trump, I would issue an executive order that there will be no destruction of any materials at USAID.
They're going to ignore that to the extent that they can.
Yes, but the thing is, if he does issue that order and they keep doing it, then they're really cooked and booked.
That's true. That's true. Marking any documents classified that are not classified is a federal crime, by the way.
It's no
Yeah, you cannot just start scrawling top secret on the top of a document.
You will get spanked.
Yeah, you will get a lot spanked. There were a couple of incidents that I was not part of, but proximal to, where people tried to classify one tier down or one tier up, and they always found themselves with some form of an LOR.
Yeah. When I took over the skiff in Southfield, the guy who had it before me was just royally just an idiot, I guess.
Did he have everything screwed up?
I was in charge of it for like 72 hours, and then I had somebody from brigade come in, and they just reamed my ass. Like, what the fuck are you doing? This is so fucked up. Shit, wrong doors, wrong safe. What the fuck? I'm like, I just got here. I don't know.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.